Welcome back to our Dream in the Woods. We're continuing our do-it-yourself barndominium build. Still working on the inside. Got some framing to finish up. We're towards the end of that, and I have a project that I'm going to start working on here first. That's just not that fun of a project, but needs to get done. So I'll show you what I have going on. So I'm over here on the east side, and I'm going to work in that crawl space up there, a variety of different things. So let me go up there and show you what I'm doing. I'm up here in the crawl space where the access for on the east side of the building here. And what my plan is I'm going to put at least one row of OSB down up to the right side here, and then a second row at least through 3 bays, so 30 feet, just so there's a platform to work off of, and so when the subcontractors come in, they have a place to work off of also. This zip sheeting wasn't ever buttoned down all the way. I don't know if you can see, but I have nails up to that one, but then there's no nails on the lower portion all the way across. And some of that has bowed, and so I'll have to get that flat and then nail that in so it's nice and secure. I still need to nail that one side of this joint and put the tape on, and then wherever there was splices there, put that tape on, and then zip off the bottom part of the zip sheeting just to be flush with that bottom edge. So it's nice space up here, but not nice enough space that you can just walk around. So it's crouching and on your knees kind of stuff. But I think I'm gonna get started by putting the OSB up and see how far I'm gonna get on that project today. Have to notch around the posts as I go, but that's okay. Let's get to it. Well, day 2 of working on that crawl space area. I had 14 sheets and I used all of them. Decided to go back and get 3 more last night, and I needed more nails. So the sheeting is just about done. Yeah, kind of dark up here, but decided to go clear out with the sheeting. That'll help with storage, and I need to work on this seam up here anyway, so I have to lay on my back. So that's more handy to have a sheet there. So I have 1 more in that far corner down there, and then I'm just gonna put 2 down there. I just have 2x6s out there, but I'll work on those and then I'll fix them down. So looking good up here. I think the next thing I'm gonna do, well, I'm gonna get those last 3 sheets so I don't have to think about it anymore. And then I'll start working on this seam here and all the tape. And then the last thing is gonna be trimming this zip sheathing and screwing it down. Like I said, it didn't get nailed down initially. So now I have some cupping and bowing, and that just needs to be cleaned up. Thing on my list for a long time. Getting those sheets up, it's basically 10 feet. It's a little bit of a pain. Yeah, there's probably not an easy way to do that, besides maybe shaving 20 or 30 years off my life. It would probably be a lot easier, but I only have 3 left to go, and then I'll be done with lifting those up and popping them up on that platform and sliding them down, but at least I only have 3. Plugging away, I got all of the, basically that seam sealing, sealing those joints up. That's all done. The OSB is all in. I know that there's a gap down there. I decided to leave them down there, and I might put something light if I have to store something. Anyway, my last project is working on this bottom edge of the zip sheathing. I didn't secure it at the time, so I don't know, something pretty wavy down through there, so I needed to suck it in. And I just went to the Home Depot and found something. Those are way overkill, but it has a nice wide head and it sucks that panel nice and straight. So then I can just put a few nails in it. It's probably overkill with a couple of those screws in, but it solves the problem. So, and then I'm just trimming it up with that router bit, the flush cutting bit, and it seems to be going good. I got 2 out of 6, so I just got 4 left. Get to it. So a nice surprise here. These are Morel mushrooms that just popped up. We had some last year also. And we believe this came in on a load of gravel. This forest came in on a load of gravel. And so my goal is to try to repopulate these and spread the spores throughout the property. So pretty cool. This is the finished space up here. I was able to get that all trimmed up and battened down, the zip sheeting, and floor's all in, and the seams are all taped. I feel like this is finished. Like I don't need to do very much more up here. Maybe run some string lights. I plan on putting storage, make this storage, and that'll all depend on what it looks like after the plumber and the HVAC are done, because they're going to use this space too. So hopefully they're mindful so I can move totes and stuff in and out of here. Eric and I are out here today trying to lay out this wall, which is kind of the final step in this whole center framing, and it's interesting. There is a intersection right there with the laser, and then this wall here will have to go clear to the ceiling, and then we'll have to build another little wall on top of that beam, another little triangle piece. It's good stuff.
Yeah, this is a good one. Take some time. But
Take some time and some thinking.
yeah.
kind of hard to do video yesterday, but we did some complicated framing. Just every piece is a calculation and sometimes a double cut. But we got those in, and we got that little weird header in above that built in.
29 5/8 to the high side.
Ceilings in on this side. Got Dean here, and they're filling in the odd studs above the wall, cripples or whatever you'd call those. And we're just using the laser to tell us where it lands on the top, and then Dean's cutting. So I am going to switch focuses to this area over here and start framing in the fireplace. Done a lot of thinking on that, so I'll show you what we got going on. So it's a gas fireplace. These are the schematics here, so I have all the rough openings. And then I drew out what I need here. It's actually gonna, so have a tall wall here, and then it'll be a shelf for the mantle to go on, and then a hearth or a bench down below. So gonna try to build this piece first, then this piece, then this piece. So all in an effort, and then trying to maximize or minimize how high that TV has to go above that. We're TV watchers and fire watchers, so you want to watch both, but you want to have some place to sit in front of the fireplace, and everyone wants a mantle, especially when I can custom mill whatever I want. So let's see how it works. So one of the first things to do is going to be remove this brace. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but it's offset of where the fireplace is going, and I'm mainly doing it for looks and ease of use. I will try to support that beam, but it's only coming out 14 inches up here, so, but I really don't know if that's even matter, because I have this big steel plate that comes out about that much anyway. So I don't know. Tell me what you think, but I'm doing it anyway. It's too late. So we just had big conversations on the fireplace, and we changed. We're going wider. We decided that a 5-foot fireplace feels narrow in this space for how tall it is. So we're going with a 6-foot wide. And then the rough opening for the gas insert is 37 inches. So that gives us about 15 to 17 inches on the outside as it goes up. Anyway, thank you. Beth especially. She gets final say.
Yep.
Eric's working on the final wall there. Angled. It's fun. Looks fun. just doing the upper framing there. Coming along. Got some blocking and some jack studs to put in. Phase 1, almost complete. Well, this space turned out great, and there's a nice piece of wall, tall wall up there. I don't know how tall that is. It's got to be 13 or 14 feet. I know this is part of the kitchen, but I don't know. Looks like a good spot for a moose rack, so maybe. Pantry now has a space and a feel to it. I think that's good. Built-in cabinet there. Yeah. Built-in cabinet there. Run direct through to the garage. And then on this right-hand side, there'll be a bench with some little storage spaces below and above. Maybe a cabinet there. So I think it looks great. Excited for this. Kind of had dreams to get a little further on the fireplace. This is basically phase 1 complete. So the next thing will be a 2x6 that comes out here, 2x6 wall or piece of the fire, and then it comes up to right there, and then there'll be a shelf, and then we'll have to make a platform for the stove to sit on once that's in. So a few things there. I think I'm going to wait putting the bench hearth piece in until the stove set and I know all my elevations and my material. So anyway, looks good. TV is going to be pretty high up there, but it's adequate space, I believe, and we can sit back quite a ways, so I think we'll get used to it. I'm glad that we went 6 inches wider. I think it's going to fit the space just fine, and I'm glad we did it. Busy couple of days. Real glad I got that crawl space all cleaned up and all the sheeting in. It's raring to go. The framing is done enough for the plumbers to come, and they're coming tomorrow. So excited about that. And then HVAC come a week later. So we just got to get that fireplace ready, and the framing will be done for that. So good progress. And officially tomorrow I'm going to start working outside. I'm going to have a load of logs delivered, and just a big checklist of things to do outside. So, but I have to get to milling. I want to mill the boards for the board and batten first, so they can dry a little bit over the next few weeks and acclimate, and then start checking things off the list. Keep going. So appreciate everyone watching, and of course everyone's help. Erik and Dean, Beth, Bo. So appreciate all that. And you guys have a good evening, night, or wherever this video finds you. And we'll catch you with the next video. Good night.